was roughly about 10 years ago or so. I was on this aeroplane from Joburg to Cape Town, and the drinks trolley is rustling past, and of course I get a glass of red. Well, on the aeroplane there's no glasses, you get a cup of red. And it was a good trip. I should be celebrating. It was successful. Somehow I didn't feel so excited about that anymore. I don't know why. Lately, this trip from Joburg to Cape Town isn't so attractive anymore. I don't know why. So I take a sip of my wine and I'm thinking, you should be celebrating, feel happier. But I'm not. Somehow the wine has this bitter aftertaste of despair. So I'm sitting there with this cup and I'm thinking, am I celebrating or am I self-medicating? Not sure. And then as I was sitting there looking down at my legs, I see these beautiful high heel shoes, you know those girls? And I'm short, so I can pull it off, and I've got good legs. I can wear the skirt. Those were 10 years ago, remember? And I looked really nice in my power suit and stockinged legs. But then I looked ahead of me, and about 3 rows there was this lady sitting with this beautiful dress, colorful and bold. And she had these beads on. You know the beads, those beads made by invisible people. We have many invisible people. And that thought about the beads and the invisible people took me back 30 years or so, when I was an anthropology student and we were on an outing. We were going to go to the small village somewhere in the Eastern Transvaal, as it was called in the day. And we were going to learn about these people living in this village. And I was quite excited when we got to the village, and to this day I can still remember waking up in the morning to this smell of the fires, the cooking fires, and this humming. And the people were chattering, and there was just this music happening, and the pounding of heavy objects making food or something. And all this noise and chatter just came together in this beautiful orchestra of preparation for this village. And then there was, of course, this Zulu boy. I had a little crush on him. But I was a white girl, I couldn't tell anyone. This was 30 years ago. Maybe I could. I was just not brave enough just yet. Were any of us brave enough to talk about that? Anyway, so secretly admiring the Zulu boy, and then listening to this chief. This chief was amazing. He was just this dignified man, so respectful, commanding presence. And he was a real leader of this village. And then one morning I woke up a little bit earlier than everyone else. For some reason I couldn't sleep. I can't remember, it was 30 years ago after all. But I woke up and I saw him washing, getting dressed in coveralls and boots. And I didn't know where he was going, and I wasn't going to ask either. I was a little bit afraid of him. But later on I found out he was off to go be someone's gardener. This chief, just like that. All his dignity stripped away. That's how I felt about it. This man was just made a gardener. And that day I vowed, I'm going to change that. I'm going to make a world where chiefs are not gardeners, unless it's for recreational purposes. Then, of course, the day went on and the journey continued, and I went home with all the other students, and I went back to my comfortable life of ignorance, as we do. Then I got off the plane, remember, I was still on the plane, and this whole little trip down memory lane, triggered by the beads and this lady, just changed my life forever. I couldn't go back to this. The deals in heels just wasn't so much fun anymore. You know where my happy place was all these years? My happy place was, to the horror of all my white friends, to go into the townships. I loved going in there. There's just this music there, and everybody seems happy amidst all this poverty and heartache. And I used to go there finding the entrepreneurs. I understand business. I'm a businesswoman. I would talk to them and just try and engage and understand. How do you cope with this life? And it was always my go-to place whenever I felt a little bit uncomfortable or miserable. But now, of course, I can't make a living out of that. Who's going to pay me for walking around in townships talking to entrepreneurs? Nobody has a job like that. I don't know, but anyway, I was going there more and more. And by now, the comfortable job I used to have is gone. I gave it up. I couldn't deal with it anymore. And you know, when you lose your job, What goes next? The house, the car, the husband, the friends, even some family. Because now you're poor. You don't have a job, she might ask you for a job, don't go visit. Plan strategically to go eat at family members. I didn't actually know what to do at that stage of my life, so I was living in this distress. And then one day, an angel came across my path. Don't stress, it's not that kind of angel. It was a real person. It was this woman, well, she had blonde hair, so she was my angel. And she actually offered me a job as an anthropologist, which is what I am, I just forgot. And she said to me, you must go into this rural village and go and do a research study for me. And I'm like, oh my word, all my dreams just came true. Someone's actually going to pay me to go to my happy place. I was so excited. And then I looked down and I'm like, I obviously can't do that in heels. Oh my word, I was so happy to throw those heels out. Put on some boots. You know, there's like a hiking boots that you get. So my boots and I went off on this journey. Did those boots take me to uncomfortable places? This was no longer just my happy place. This was a reality check. Those boots took me on a hike, a heartache, loneliness. There was no walk in the park. I really struggled to come to grips with this insufferable circumstances people live in. I was completely humbled to see how they just cope with it all. Then, of course, I was getting angry. I was getting hopeless. I was getting frustrated by a society that has lots and lots of money, and they're just putting it to the wrong places, in my opinion. The solutions are so simple. Then, of course, the biggest thing I felt was betrayal. I was so betrayed by our past. They lied to us. It was a cover-up. Our past has created all these invisible people. You know, there's invisible people that clean your house and bring your coffee in the office. The invisible people that knows who in the office is sleeping with who. I always go to them before I see the CEO. I'm making a little joke about it, but those invisible people, it's their time to come out. It's our responsibility. So I wanted to change the world still, like back 30 years ago. Just forgot. So I decided I'm going to start a business doing that, and I did. So my boots and I trampled open this path of opportunity, sustainability for rural entrepreneurs, and I'm so proud of it. But still, these boots have taken me on many places. They've taken me into the lives of lots of invisible people. There's Umklenyan. He's my favorite. He comes from a small community, about 2,000 people. And as in these communities, they don't have access to water, there's no electricity. You know, it's hard. They're poor. But Umklenyan, he's as thin as a reed. Whenever he sees me, he'll go, Lizelle! And he hugs me, and he's got no teeth, and he's just beautiful. And when he hugs me, I can feel his spine here, you know, the bones, but he would just give me a squeeze. And on this one particular day, Umklenyan, he grows vegetables for his community because they don't have fresh produce. They're miles away from any fresh vegetables. So we helped him to start a little veggie garden. One day, and on this day, he gave me this pot with a plant in, and he said in Afrikaans, "This must nou legal in South Africa," you know. Not quite the vegetables I wanted him to grow, but who am I? and I actually didn't have the heart to tell him I still couldn't take it on the plane. You know? Don't ask me where the plant went, okay? So, and Umklenyan is one example of an invisible person that just shines for me. And Mpo's another one. Mpo always says to me, God never gave me children. Mpo couldn't have children. But she looks after the children of her entire community. And what makes it even more special is Mpo looks after the disabled children in her community. It's incredible. Mpo has a personality bigger than life. She's always full of a smile. She never complains. And you know what? The parents can't pay her often to look after the children. She gives them a meal, and she tries her best to look after all these little disabled bodies. Those are just some of the people that have impacted my life so profoundly that I could never wear high heels again because they have a different meaning for me. I know all of you will encounter an invisible person every day. So I'll ask you, when you encounter one, accept them with positive purpose. Engage, understand. Accept that we are all different and embrace that change that acceptance will bring in your life. Acknowledge that person for that beautiful moment you share right there and then. Yes, my boots, they've been so much more than shoes. These boots have walked me out of the comfort of a known misery into the discomfort of an unknown mystery. The day I changed my heels for boots was the day I found hope, I found inspiration, and unknowingly then, I found my true purpose.